The battle had been fierce. Earth had thrown everything it had at the Quasar, the insectoid alien race that had come to claim the blue planet as their new hive. 4 years, humanity fought tooth and nail, each victory hard-won but at tremendous cost. Then, amidst the chaos, a lone human emerged as an unlikely savior. Commander Nathan Carter had been a soldier long before the Quasar arrived. Hardened by war and loss, he had nothing left to lose, or so he thought. When the Quasar Queen was injured during a failed attack on her mothership, Carter saw an opportunity not to destroy, but to negotiate. The mission that changed everything. The Quasar Queen, Zelyra, was unlike any alien Carter had ever encountered. Towering over him, her exoskeleton shimmered with iridescent hues, and her voice was a haunting melody of clicks and harmonics. She was fierce, cunning, and ruthless, but her injury revealed something Carter hadn't expected: vulnerability. Instead of delivering a fatal blow, Carter made a choice that baffled his peers. He carried her to safety, shielding her from Earth's vengeful forces and even defying his own command. The two formed an uneasy alliance, and in the days that followed, Carter learned more about the Quasar. Their invasion wasn't born of malice but necessity. Their homeworld had been consumed by a supernova, leaving them as desperate refugees. Zelyra had led her people in search of a new home, but her methods, aggressive and unyielding, had made enemies of every species they encountered. "You could have killed me," Zelyra said one night, her voice softened by exhaustion. "Why didn't you?" Carter's answer was simple. "Because I saw someone who was trying to save her people, just like I'm trying to save mine." An unlikely bond. As Zelyra recovered, Carter worked tirelessly to broker peace between their species. It wasn't easy. Trust was in short supply on both sides, and many humans wanted him tried for treason. Still, Carter's efforts began to bear fruit. He convinced Zelyra to call off the Quasar's attacks in exchange for Earth's help finding an uninhabited planet they could call home. Through it all, Zelyra and Carter grew closer. Their conversations evolved from strategy sessions to personal exchanges. She shared stories of her hive's ancient traditions and the burden of leadership, while he spoke of Earth's beauty and the family he had lost. For the first time in her life, Zelyra felt understood. The weight of her responsibilities seemed lighter when she was with Carter. He, in turn, found solace in her presence, her resilience reigniting a spark of hope he thought he'd lost forever. The final sacrifice. Just as peace seemed within reach, a rogue faction of humans launched a surprise attack on the Quasar's temporary settlement. The assault was devastating, and Zelyra's hive was on the brink of annihilation. In the chaos, Carter made a choice that would cement his place in history. He stepped between the attackers and the Quasar, using his authority as a commander to call off the strike. When that failed, he physically shielded Zelyra, taking a plasma bolt meant for her. Wounded but defiant, he rallied both humans and Quasar to fight side by side, ultimately forcing the rogue faction to retreat. Carter's bravery and selflessness turned the tide. The incident became a turning point, proving that cooperation was possible. Earth's leaders, swayed by the public's outcry and Carter's sacrifice, agreed to aid the Quasar in finding a new home. A proposal like no other. Weeks later, as Carter recovered in a Quasar medical facility, Zelyra came to see him. The tension that had once defined their interactions was gone, replaced by something neither of them had expected: affection. "Nathan Carter," Zelyra began, her voice uncharacteristically soft. "You have risked everything for me and my people. You have shown courage, compassion, and wisdom beyond measure. I find myself feeling an emotion I cannot fully name but believe you call love." Carter blinked, unsure if he'd heard her correctly. "Love." Zelyra nodded, her antennae dipping slightly in what he had come to recognize as a gesture of vulnerability. "It is not a concept we Quasar understand as you do, but I know this. I wish to share my life with you." Will you accept my proposal? He stared at her, words failing him. Of all the scenarios he'd imagined, this wasn't one of them. And yet, as he looked into her multifaceted eyes, he felt an overwhelming sense of rightness. Zelyra, he said finally, a smile tugging at his lips. You've just turned my entire world upside down. But yes, I accept. A new era. Their union was unprecedented, a symbol of hope in a galaxy scarred by war and mistrust. Together, Carter and Zelyra became ambassadors of peace, leading efforts to rebuild what had been broken. Under their guidance, Earth and the Quasar forged an alliance that benefited both species. Humans shared their technology and knowledge, while the Quasar offered their unparalleled engineering and agricultural skills. The search for a new Quasar homeworld continued, but in the meantime, they found a place among humanity. Carter and Zelyra's story became a legend, inspiring generations to come. It was proof that even in the darkest times, understanding and love could bridge any divide. As Carter stood beside Zelyra in a grand hall filled with both human and Quasar representatives, he took a moment to reflect on how far they'd come. He glanced at Zelyra, her regal form shimmering in the light, and felt a profound gratitude. You've changed my life in ways I never thought possible, he said quietly. And you have shown me that even the strongest walls can be broken by kindness, she replied, her voice a soothing melody. Together, they stepped forward to address the assembly. Their message was clear: the future was theirs to build, one united step at a time.